Before I forgot, I decided to go thank Veldora and Ramiris. For Veldora, I had some new clothing. He always went around topless with a cape, and I saw that as kind of a problem. He didn't seem to mind it much. Maybe he thought it was a good look for him, but I thought now was a good time to offer him an alternative in gift form. Oh, Rimuru. My heartfelt friend and ally. At long last, you have finally grasped how I feel, yes. I've always wanted to wear cooler clothes. You could have asked Shuna anytime, and she would have set you up, right? Like, just go in the wardrobe room, and there's a few outfits you can magically adjust the sizes of. Fool. Only a custom-made outfit would be worthy of my time. And if my most trustworthy ally prepared it for me, I'm sure it would be the finest outfit in all the land, would it not? I have, like, zero fashion sense, just so you know. Veldora seemed to be giving way too much credit. I mean, I'm only wearing what the people around here tell me to wear. Looking back, I was horrible with my clothing choices in my previous life as well. I basically got by with business suits outdoors and sweats indoors. Lots of sweats. Comfy, no biggie if you get a stain on them. Perfect. That was what I based my choices on with Veldora, and surprisingly, it was a bigger hit with him than I had guessed. He was rapidly throwing on every piece of the outfit, right in front of me. Well, I'm glad you're happy with it. Keep up the good work now, alright. Yes, leave it all to me. Kwahahaha. Considering everything I get from him, this was ridiculously cheap compensation. I mean, yes, it's a custom job made from top-of-the-line fabric, but still, you know. Next time I'm free, I'll try thinking of some other way to thank him. But that can wait. Next up was Ramiris. Ramiris, you really saved our necks. Thank you for that. Aw, quit acting like we're strangers or something. I owe you a whole heck of a lot, too, so you scratch my back, I scratch yours, you know. Ramiris looked a little bashful. I wasn't much good at expressing gratitude, either, but it's important to do it when you need to. Right, so I thought I'd give you a reward as well. Oh, what's that? Did you make me a dress or something, like with my master? If you want something like that, go ask Shuna. She'll set you up. But as for me, there was no way I'd ever be caught designing women's clothing. Shuna can tackle that for me. Myself, I had things to name. Oh, so you're gonna name my cute little dragon lords? Pretty much, yeah. And I'll basically be their mom. Exactly. Wow. That's really incredible. I was kinda surprised by that, too, actually, but it really did work. At the event yesterday, I gave the Dolman's pet the name of Venti. Once I did, she evolved, and now she can turn into a human anytime she wants and speak to us fluently. So I thought maybe you'd like the same for your own dragon lords, you know. Those transformation skills threw me for a loop, but if you think about it, dragons taking human form is a pretty common trope in fantasy fiction, isn't it? It's not completely unexpected. Thus, I figured there was a chance Ramiris's 4 dragon lords could pull that same trick. Then we have more staff on hand, and maybe life wouldn't be so stressful for Beretta. In that case, name away is what I say. Ramiris happily nodded her approval. With her consent, it was time to get started. Do you have any ideas for good names? You handle it. Guess Ramiris isn't too good at coming up with names. If she was leaving all that to me, then they were probably gonna end up with fantasy game style names. But maybe that works, actually. They're boss monsters, after all, so maybe it's not worth sweating over. So I had Ramiris go fetch the dragon lords and bring them to the labyrinth lord's chambers where Veldora resided. Seeing all 4 of them lined up before me, it dawned on me that these guys have probably been beaten up by adventuring teams many times over by now. They remain doggedly devoted to their posts, however, so I really wanted some cool names for them. Being a dragon lord means having more magicules than even an archdemon, but it hadn't been that long since Millum picked them up, so these guys weren't quite as good as they could be. If naming them triggers evolutions, that ought to give them a ton more intelligence and then they can be smarter and stronger than ever before. With something like this, going with your initial gut feeling is always the best bet. The Fire Dragon Lord became Euros the Draconic Flame Lord. The Ice one became Zephyros the Draconic Frost Lord. The Wind one became Nodos the Draconic Sky Lord. And the Earth one became Boreas the Draconic Terror Lord. I was borrowing liberally from Greek mythology. These were the names of the Animoi, the deities assigned to the winds of each cardinal direction, and I thought these would be perfect for the Dragon Lords. These names were my creation, but Ramiris would be treated as the one who named them all. That seemed to work without a hitch, much to my relief. Thus, Ramiris and the dragons were now connected by their souls, and I hope they continue to serve her faithfully. So how did it work out? Well, just as I guessed, the Dragon Lords could all transform into forms close to human, not completely so, though, as they still retained some draconic characteristics. Euros, the Brimstone Dragon Lord, was a beautiful woman with red hair, her auburn skin covered in a dress made of dragon scale, and her tail resembled a flaming whip. Zephyros, the Frostkeep Dragon Lord, was a slender, handsome young man. His elegant, gentle appearance, combined with his long green hair, gave him an almost feminine sort of beauty. Nodos, the Sky Thunder Dragon Lord, looked like a little girl, all cute from a distance, but bearing jagged teeth and menacing fangs up close. The size and look were a mismatch for her incredible strength. Finally, Boreas, the Earthshaker Dragon Lord, was a large muscular man covered in dragon scales, spines growing all over his body. The four of them looked like they headed some legion of super-villains, the combination of horror and beauty they presented, resulting in a twisted sort of attractiveness. This shift, however, was just for looks only. They hadn't turned dragonoid like Melon, and their species was still straight-up Dragonlord. Dragonoids, after all, are spiritual life forms with a physical body, a sort of mutational offshoot from the true dragons. Even with all the Dragon Lord's powers, they were still physical by nature, so they weren't going to rank up there with the perfection the true dragons exuded. Still, despite the remaining Dragon Lords, I'd call this evolution a big success. Even better, they had acquired more magic force than I anticipated. They all had several times more magicules than pre-evolution, and it looked to me like they'd get close to the awakened claimant on that front. Not quite a true demon lord, but still, a wonderful leap forward for them. Considering how much some simple names boosted them, I shudder to think what would have happened if I consumed my own magicules for this. For all I knew, I could have suffered irreparable damage. This whole naming system is really scary, in a way. All told, I consumed 5,000 souls on this job. There's just nothing at all logical about monsters, I realized all over again. But no point pondering over it. Either way, the evolutions of the Dragon Lords, which served as my thank you gift to Ramiris, were now complete. By the way, if you're looking strictly at magicule counts, the 10 dungeon marvels are all about evenly matched with these Dragon Lords. However, it looks like there's still a major gap in combat power, something you can't express with numbers. Zegen's a good enough illustration of that, but even the other marvels make the evolved Dragon Lords look kind of weak. Yes, they had strong monster bodies and attacks that leveraged them, plus a bunch of magic. They were undoubtedly vicious, powerful forces. But they'd still lose out to their peers with better combat skills. A lot of it just came down to lack of battle experience. They didn't really have a firm foundation in combat yet. I'm sure it was frustrating for the Dragon Lords to keep getting whipped all the time during the Labyrinth Siege. In fact, the moment they evolved and gained language fluency, the first thing they did was ask me for training. Having a new humanoid form meant they could now master human-style combat, and they now realized that a more refined skill set would get them a lot further than their monster-style techniques. Instead of relying on physical attacks like bites, maulings, and element-driven breath, they'd need to understand their magic better and incorporate it into their fighting. I assumed they wanted to learn how to fight as humans and try working that into their own approaches. They came up with that on their own, and really, that showed some pretty remarkable development already. Kwa ha ha ha. I will gladly take care of them for you. Veldora, emboldened after doing such a good job raising Zegen, immediately accepted the trainer role for the Dragon Lords. Thus, their journey began. In time, some of the Dragon Lords would demonstrate more strength in human form than as dragons. They mastered ways to transform their own claws and scales into weapons, an armor which seemed like kind of a backward way to do it, but oh well, and I assumed they liked the results they got from that. I wouldn't discover this until much later, but yeah, I guess it's just as well.